Franz Kafka is one of those rare writers whose name became an adjective. Kafkaesque, a word we use when life feels like a maze built by invisible hands, when rules appear without explanation, and when we find ourselves trapped in situations that feel both absurd and strangely familiar. But behind this word was a man, quiet, introspective, painfully self-aware, and endlessly observant of the human condition. Kafka didn't set out to become a literary giant. In fact, he doubted his own work so deeply that he asked for it to be burned after his death. Yet today, his stories shape how we talk about bureaucracy, alienation, and the surreal nature of modern life. This video is an invitation to walk through Kafka's world, a world where dreams and reality blur, where meaning hides behind shadows, and where the most ordinary moments become profound. Franz Kafka was born in 1883 in Prague, a city that was itself a crossroads of cultures, languages, and identities. He grew up in a German-speaking Jewish family within a Czech-speaking world, a layered identity that shaped his sense of being an outsider. Kafka worked full-time at an insurance office, writing only in the quiet hours of the night. His relationship with his father was famously strained, and this tension echoes throughout his work. Characters facing overwhelming authority, guilt without explanation, and systems that seem designed to crush the individual. Despite his brilliance, Kafka battled anxiety, self-doubt, and illness. He published only a handful of works during his lifetime, and even those he considered incomplete. Yet his private writings, journals, letters, unfinished manuscripts, reveal a mind constantly wrestling with existence, meaning, and the strange machinery of life. Kafka's stories feel like dreams you can't quite wake up from. Not nightmares, but unsettling puzzles. His themes revolve around alienation, guilt, and the absurdity of modern life. Characters often face systems that are impossible to understand. Courts with no judges, trials with no charges, and rules that shift without warning. This isn't just fiction, it's a reflection of how Kafka saw the world. He believed that modern society had become a machine, one that people were forced to navigate without a manual. His characters are not heroes. They are ordinary people trying to make sense of impossible situations. And that's why his work resonates today. Whether it's dealing with bureaucracy, feeling lost in a crowd, or questioning your purpose, Kafka captures the quiet anxieties we rarely speak about. His stories remind us that confusion is part of being human, and that meaning often hides in the struggle itself. Kafka's most famous story, The Metamorphosis, begins with one of the most iconic lines in literature. A man wakes up to find he has transformed into a giant insect. But the story isn't about the transformation itself, it's about what happens next. Gregor Samsa, once the family's provider, becomes a burden overnight. His family's love turns into fear, then resentment, and finally rejection. Kafka uses the surreal transformation to explore something painfully real. What happens when a person loses their usefulness in society's eyes? Gregor's insect body becomes a metaphor for alienation, disability, and the fragile nature of identity. The tragedy isn't that Gregor becomes a monster, it's that the world treats him like one. Through this story, Kafka exposes how quickly compassion can fade, how easily people can be dehumanized, and how society values productivity over humanity. It's a haunting reminder that our worth shouldn't depend on what we can do, but on who we are. In the trial, Kafka introduces Joseph K., a man arrested one morning without being told what crime he committed. What follows is a descent into a legal system that is everywhere and nowhere, powerful yet invisible. Joseph K. tries to defend himself, but how do you fight an accusation you can't even name? Kafka uses this premise to explore the anxiety of living under systems that feel arbitrary and overwhelming. Whether it's government bureaucracy, workplace hierarchies, or social expectations, Kafka shows how institutions can make individuals feel powerless. The novel becomes a mirror for anyone who has ever felt judged without explanation, trapped in expectations they never agreed to, or lost in a process they don't understand. Joseph K.'s struggle is not just legal, it's existential. Kafka suggests that the real trial is life itself, and the verdict is something we spend our entire lives trying to understand. Kafka's fiction is inseparable from his personal life. His letters reveal a man torn between desire and fear, longing and self-doubt. His relationship with Felice Bauer was passionate yet unstable, marked by long letters and sudden withdrawals. Kafka often felt unworthy of love, convinced that his writing and his fragile health made him a burden. Tuberculosis haunted his final years, making every breath a reminder of his mortality. Yet even in illness, Kafka wrote with clarity and emotional depth. His journals show a man who questioned everything: his purpose, his relationships, his place in the world. But they also reveal moments of tenderness, humor, and hope. Kafka wasn't just a prophet of despair. He was a seeker of truth, someone who believed that writing could illuminate the hidden corners of the human soul. His struggles didn't define him. They shaped the honesty and vulnerability that make his work timeless. Kafka's world may seem surreal, but it feels more relevant than ever. In an age of endless paperwork, digital surveillance, and systems too complex for any one person to understand, Kafka's stories feel like prophecies. We live in a world where algorithms make decisions we can't see, where institutions feel distant, and where people often feel disconnected from themselves and each other. Kafka gives language to these feelings. He shows that confusion is not a personal failure. It's part of the human experience. His work encourages us to question the systems around us, to stay compassionate in a world that often forgets compassion, and to find meaning even in uncertainty. Kafka doesn't offer answers, but he offers something more valuable: the courage to face the absurd with honesty. Kafka once wrote a parable about a man who spends his entire life waiting outside a door meant only for him. When he finally asks why no one else came, the gatekeeper replies, "This door was made only for you. Now I am going to close it." Kafka's life and work remind us that meaning isn't something we wait for, it's something we create. His stories challenge us to step through the doors in front of us, even when they seem strange or frightening. Because behind the confusion, behind the absurdity, there is always a chance for transformation. Kafka teaches us that even in a world that feels overwhelming, our inner life remains our own, a place where truth, imagination, and courage can flourish. Thank you for walking through Kafka's world with me today. If you like this type of content, please consider to subscribe to the channel.